is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, we suggest you turn this wacky shit straight off.
All Hallows Eve. Seems like it's been forever since we did a Halloween show.
We did one last year, right?
We must have. Like, no matter how busy things are, like right now is a shit show of busy for me. But I could not, in good conscience, not do a Halloween show. Now, this one's as half-assed as I've ever done, and I'm going to get shit-faced. But I brought some stuff. I'll explain in a little bit, but we must have. I don't think we've missed a single year of Halloween show.
No.
But we probably did. If I was super busy, well, I would have been busy last year. At this point last year, I'm sure I would have known that Radar was going away. So
God, has it been a fucking year? I guess because like the Lyle Palooza was one of your last big events,
yeah,
right?
it was one of the last ones. Ken Stringfellow from the Posies was our very last show. We did have an open mic, huge open mic, that went from like 8 p.m. to 12:30. Just people lined up halfway down the block when I opened up the doors. It was amazing, because they knew we were going away. But, yeah, I'm sure we would have recorded. I'm sure I would have talked about all the changes that were ahead of me. Little did I know. So funny. It's like we get so locked into our own little lives. Like it was a major event for me going through all that. But now it's just like I'm a drop in the ocean. Like people are folding their businesses left and right for things that have nothing to do with drama like mine did. Or however you want to sum it up. But
yeah, you got
crazy.
out at the right time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I can't see a scenario, even if the landlords gave me free rent the entire time. And a lot of landlords are doing that. They're like, we fucking get it. But at some point they can't keep doing that. Even if they had done that, I don't know how I would have paid for any of my other bills. The gas company's not going to do that. The PUD's not going to do that. And
they had some programs, to be fair, like all of ours did. They were like, if
not everyone got them, though. You had to apply.
Yeah, I'm sure it was not great.
It was like winning the lottery. I mean, it was a lot like applying. Well, it was exactly like applying for grants. Not everybody gets them, but everybody wants them. But that's for a different show. Tonight is the virtual Drunk Around the Campfire episode. Always one of my favorites. And because I have been so busy, we've been editing. So we have a big Halloween burlesque show with the Radar Dames. Of course, we couldn't do that this year. So we decided not that long ago to do a virtual show. And it's like the troupe is big enough, and having a crew there to like film a live show, even that was like too much of a gathering to feel responsible about. So it was like that wasn't an option. Like, what could this be? And somewhere along the line, we came up with the idea of doing it like mini horror movies. And then I would host them like Joe Bob Briggs or Elvira or any of these other great horror hosts. And I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do horror hosting. And my favorite is Joe Bob Briggs. I don't know if you remember the TNT Monster Vision that he would host, but I just loved that he was a character to some degree, but mostly he was just kind of gently mocking the movies, but also you could tell that he had a genuine love for the movies and a wealth of knowledge for those movies. So he would give you like little tidbits of trivia about these wacky films that no one should ever know or care about, but it's fascinating. And that's what inspired me to go on to do the type of introductions and hosting that I would do for films at Radar Station. That would be my like mini way of doing that. This was a full-on way. Sarah was dead Edith. She didn't say anything, but she had some pretty good expressions and huge tits. Which you have to have. You just have to. I mean, this is a burlesque show after all. And it was mostly just me kind of deadpanning intro, and I did a little trivia and a few cornball jokes and just stitching it all together, and we ended up with a 90-minute anthology of some low-ass budget horror burlesque. It's a really
Congratulations, that's a fucking undertaking. 90 minutes, like feature-length film.
Yeah, it's feature-length. That's why, and I got all the files, because they're all
weeks ago, I'm sure. Right?
Oh, not even. I got them all a week ago, a little over a week ago. Now they, most of them. Oh, there's John Mark. Let me hang up on him. For some reason, I can never add him
After the fact.
To the call, yeah. It makes me hang up on you guys. Let me get him going because I kind of lost my train of thought here.
Talking about editing the all the
yeah. So most of these videos came completely edited. Like I wasn't editing the individual videos. I shot and edited honeybees. So everyone else sent me.
It must have been a rough experience.
Yeah, always a rough experience filming honey. It was so much fun. I love those guys.
Well, it's nice to have some of it done that you don't have to fuck with.
Oh my god! It could not have happened. It simply could not have happened if I had to edit every one of those videos, because that in and of itself, you know, a 5-minute video, they're like little mini movies, like shooting and editing an actual music video. Now this is all with iPhones and whoever you could grab, you know, your quarantine buddies and whatever props you had laying around. It was the ultimate low budget, small theater experience. And what I was surprised, I guess not surprised, but what I was really, really happy with was how the whole thing just stitches together in a kind of a quilt of, it reminds me of those old anthologies that we used to watch, or just a marathon of B movies that you would stay up all night with these horror hosts guiding you through the night as if they were sitting there watching with you. You know, that was always the vibe. That wasn't how it was. Now they do that. Now there's a lot of that, well, where the host is actually live streaming it and will kind of like guide you through it in certain breaks, or maybe even live commentary. But anyway, it just really gave me a lot of good retro throwbacks to early 90s, especially era, where more and more people were getting like the camcorders, like the new ones, the new expensive ones were coming out. So kids were inheriting their parents' like VHS models and going out and making skate videos or death metal videos out in the woods, trying their hardest to look scary and edgy, and a lot of it has that sort of vibe, although we're taking it way less seriously, you know. But there's some genuinely creepy moments in this, and some goofy moments and some surprises, and I highly, highly recommend this. I'm gonna do my best to make this episode come out Friday before Halloween, which is a hell of a turnaround from what I'm used to right now, but I can do it. And if that happens, then we are selling $10 tickets to this performance live. It's a live stream of the pre-recorded video that we're going to stream 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you just need to buy the ticket. We'll have your email, and then about 15 minutes before showtime you'll get the link to go to it and join us live, and then it'll be archived and you can check back on it anytime you want on demand for that $10 ticket, and you will go to support a wacky group of people that have busted their ass to make this silly little thing come together. And I got to be honest, that I'm pretty proud of it. For as low budget and rickety as the whole thing was, it's really entertaining, and it's 90 minutes that just flies by, and it feels like Halloween night. So I invite you all to join us, and we will be, because it will be a live stream, we'll be all of us will be in the chat, and you can do real-time tips. We'll have a PayPal button and some other goodies there, hopefully. So you can go, let's see, the best place to get tickets, I think, would be radarstationart.com/tickets. It's the only ticket we have up there, because obviously we haven't been doing events, so it's easy to find. Click the link, and the rest is pretty easy, and join us on Saturday. But other than that, I wanted to start the show. I did bring some things. I'm just stealing right off of other websites. In fact, I think it's only one, thrillist.com. A while ago, it looks like they had some of their readers or followers contribute local legends, like urban legends, some well-known and some that are just like super specific to one little town. I found some gems in here that I thought I'd share, again, just straight off the website, which I don't typically like to do, but in this instance, it's really all I had time to, and there's some good shit. But before we get on to that and anything you guys have to bring, I'm curious if you have any routines or rituals when you see October coming on the calendar. That chill in the air starts to slowly creep in. I feel like we're all in the same boat, where this is like the greatest time of the year, right? Like the weather, the Halloween, horror movies, everything about it. is like this is the time we cram an entire year of events and cool things to watch and just awesome serials. We cram it all into one fucking month of madness. I've got some rituals that I do. I want you to think if you guys have anything that you just like, ooh, I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, horror movies is one. I signed up for Shudder. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Shudder Network, but going back to Joe Bob Briggs, he's been doing new horror hosting on that network. It's the sole reason. It was brilliant of them to get him because I'm sure a lot of people like me, they signed up for it. So I've been watching a lot of his marathons on there.
Since you signed up for Shudder, have you watched One Cut of the Dead yet?
Mm-mm. I haven't watched anything
watch
except the Joe Bob Briggs marathons, but
you need to watch One Cut of the Dead.
I don't know that I've heard of that one.
Me. It's fucking amazing.
Back. Okay, I will.
Is
that a series or a movie?
It's a movie. Is it Japanese or Korean? I can't remember.
That's offensive.
I think it's Japanese.
Fucking racist.
They're all the same to you, aren't they, John Mark?
But
someone who grew up in Bangladesh.
It's been a while since I watched it. I don't remember where it was produced. I just remember that the movie was fucking amazing because it starts out one way, right? And you think like, okay, this is the movie, and initially you're kind of like, what the fuck is this it? What did I sign up for? You know what I mean? And then it changes, and then it changes again, and you see the whole movie in a totally different way, and it's fucking brilliant. It's like one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen, I think, as far as a horror movie goes.
You know, it's tough to be surprised these days.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to say too much because it's like, you know what I mean? It's one of those experiences you kind of have to have and just be like, oh fuck, that was amazing.
Yeah. We both, John Mark, have watched Creep and Creep Part 2 or Creep 2.
Yep. What are these? Are these like low budget flicks?
Yes. It's kind of hard to explain. In fact, I don't think...
Is it Blumhouse?
I would even want to.
Are those Blumhouse productions?
I don't know. I don't remember. But it's
they are, and I can't remember what else has Blumhouse done, like Insidious and all those things.
They've done a bunch of stuff. Like,
is it Conjuring? Conjuring.
This is like Mark. Is it Mark? It's Mark Duplass. Mark Duplass is one of the main characters in these films.
It's just if you're looking for something that's horror-ish, especially the first one's definitely I would consider a horror movie. The second one just goes the same thing like what John Mark was just describing. It's like I had no idea this was the vibe I was in for, but it's amazing, and it just like I've never seen this before. I'd never seen that kind of movie before.
It's one of the
specifically part 2.
Yeah, I thought the first one was okay. It was pretty good. Like I definitely, I was like, okay, that was an interesting little low budget, whatever it was. But the second one is really the payoff.
Are they? I mean, were they filmed back to back, or are they spaced out? And
I think they're a couple years apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm giving you 21 questions.
You can watch the second one without having seen the first one, and it would be an interesting film in its own right. But like if you've seen the first one, then there's very much more so many layers to it, right?
I recommend the first one for sure because it's pretty typical in some regards. Now there's this thing that horror movies do, and they can never stop, and I get why they can never stop. The whole quiet scene. There's some movement happening in the background. Is someone like playing with their mic wire?
Oh, it's probably my microphone rubbing against something. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. It'll probably be hidden under the crackling campfire. But, the whole thing where it's like someone's walking out, they heard a noise, they're going out of the cabin, it's nothing but crickets, the full moon, they look around, they're waiting for something, and then it's like, wow! The cat jumps on, that sort of thing. For some reason, I felt like, and they did this over and over and over again in Creep, but for some reason, I felt like there was a humor behind them that made me not hate it, and it still worked as those like spook house jump scares. I don't know. Do you agree with that, John? Because it wasn't anything new. There was just something about that fucking character, man. I find him hypnotic and spellbinding, and he's really the only character in that first movie.
And I got a real, like, now that I think about it, there's like a real sort of a funny games-ish kind of vibe about those films.
Although it doesn't go anywhere near as bad as
right, but it's like
if you're looking for
that same kind of sort of thing happening. But I definitely recommend those.
Yeah. So the question back to you guys is: there, do you have like a ritual? Is there something that you look forward to more than anything else about the coming October fires?
I honestly don't, but I get kind of caught up in the it's getting to be Halloween time. Let's watch horror movies and drink hot toddies or spike whatever, like hot cider, Yeah. But it's like, wait, I could do this any fucking time I want. Why do I?
Some of us live Halloween 24/7.
I could literally watch horror movies any fucking time I want. Why is it like that? It's like, it's okay now. It's Halloween. It's okay.
Fun. It's not that it's okay. It's more fun, right? I don't know.
I guess it kind of is in a way. I think it kind of is.
It's not the same in the summertime. Like you got the weather outside. You're in the mood for it. It's not the same.
Yeah. So I did it was kind of like, it wasn't intentional, but I accidentally, I think I told you guys about it, but I will say it here so more people can enjoy this if they want to. I made an accidental triple feature the other day, because Ron had told me the other day, he texted me that I should watch Deathgasm if I haven't seen it yet. And I had watched it, I don't know, maybe like a year ago or something. I don't remember exactly, but it just, for whatever the reason, my headspace at the time or something, like I thought it was okay, but it didn't really grab me. I guess there was some things about it that I was kind of like annoyed with, but I don't remember like why that was at the time. But he's like, you got to watch Deathgasm. I was like, okay, I'll give it another shot. So I had this movie in my queue that I've been meaning to watch for a long time. It's called Heavy Trip, and it's about this like a metal band from Finland that has never played live. They've been practicing in their basement for like 12 years, and they're actually really good, but they just don't, you know what I mean? Like, and
I can't think of a fucking movie that sounds more like John Mark.
Yeah. And
well, that's what I thought about Deathgasm.
They accidentally stumble onto, I'm not going to give away too much of the plot, but they accidentally stumble into getting a spot at a Norwegian death metal festival. And so it's like the story of them, their journey from Finland to Norway to get to this festival, and all the insane shit that happens between them getting to the festival and actually playing at the festival, right? And it's actually like, it's a really sweet, silly film. It's not a horror movie, but it involves, death metal and kind of like weirdness and stuff like that. And it's very silly, but it's very earnest, right? So it's like, it has this kind of a heart to it. And I have to say, in movies like this, usually the music sucks because it's created for the film and it's made by people that don't know what the fuck the music's supposed to sound like.
Metal, yeah, or black metal.
All the music in this film is legit, right? So like, it kind of lends it this sort of like legitimacy and like more of like a seriousness than it would have if it had just some shitty movie music to it, right? So I watched that and I was like, that was actually pretty good. And I was like, you know what, Ron, I'm going to give Deathgasm a second try. So I popped in, I queued up Deathgasm and I watched that. And the second time, I appreciated it much more. And it was the perfect sort of like segue from Heavy Trip, which isn't gory or like that at all, to Deathgasm, which is basically kind of what I think of. I consider it to be sort of like the brain dead, like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead of like death metal horror movies, right? Because it has that same like
100%
splatter quality,
but it is definitely
from New
gory.
Zealand, right?
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that, and I was like, all right, 2 for 2, like death metal, like movies. And then I was like, what can I watch now? And I saw in the queue is like people that watch this have watched this too, and there's a
Glitter. Mariah Carey's Glitter.
No, there's a documentary about one of the longest running metal festivals in Europe called, it's Wacken, whoever you just want to pronounce it. People I've heard in the movie say it both ways, but it's a festival in Germany, and it's one of the longest running, most well respected. I think it's like 3 days or something, metal festivals. And it was like the perfect sort of like come down after these two crazy movies, kind of about metal festivals and metal music and stuff to kind of like go through this journey of these people that have come from all over the world to see metal bands play and the experience that they have and the community that comes together. You know, there's all kinds of great acts interviewed, like Alice Cooper and God, I'm like blanking on a bunch of them, but like a bunch of names you would recognize, of course, you know. And it was just like, I was like, wow, this was like the perfect triple bill, and I accidentally created it. Mm-hmm. It was fucking awesome. I highly recommend doing that little thing.
I always think of Vakken, when I think of Vakken, I always think of that, the history of heavy metal documentary, and he's interviewing Mayhem. And the dude's just like being a total fucking dick. He's like, fuck you, that's why, because we fuck you, you don't understand. That's good shit. That guy later apologized for that, and he felt embarrassed because he was pretty wasted, but I thought it was funny.
Now that I think about it, like Motorhead is one of the featured acts in this film, so it's just like a good, and it was like probably a couple of years before Lemmy died, you know, so it's like a nice little, Lemmy, you know, it's just like, Lemmy.
Yeah, sometimes I forget he's gone. Chris, what about you?
You know, Halloween's kind of wonky for me because my job requires me to work every year. Strange thing is, not this year, motherfucker.
No, true that.
Because we're not doing a Halloween party, obviously. So I am going to spend it with my kid. I'm pretty excited about that. But I was thinking about Halloween traditions, and there's only one that I have, like, I stick to almost every year. And that is, I have to watch my favorite Halloween movie, which happens to be motherfucking Pumpkinhead. It's just it's a flick I gotta watch every year. I don't know, it's ever since I was a kid. So love it. I'm pretty sure Logan's gonna love it too. First time viewing.
I was pretty young when I first saw Pumpkinhead. No, not that young.
Yeah.
Now that one of the earlier ones I remember. Use Halloween as an excuse to watch Return of the Living Dead at least twice.
Yeah,
hence your text message we got the other day. Holy smokes.
Psycho and Sleepy Hollow are two that I have to watch.
Yep.
Every year. Lyle, what about you? You got any traditions or movies you just have to watch because it's October?
Oh well, mine used to be just manual labor out in the woods. I have a friend of mine that's like a second father to me, and we always go get wood, you know, this time of year. So it was always in the weekends, early in the morning, 5 in the morning, drive up in the mountains, go fall trees and cut split wood, stack.
That's a different kind of horror show. Manual labor?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's the best things you can feel of all year, you know. There's the first snow. Some people get off on shoveling snow. I'm not.
You're right.
You know, this first smell of flowers in spring, you know.
You know, I saw a movie once called Lyle Loves Getting Wood.
I just love it. Now this year, wow, this year and the last few years, he bought a pellet stove, so I just unloaded 2 pallets of fucking pellets for him.
That's less romantic.
It's
but still manual labor.
But yeah, you kind of took mine. Is one of my all-time favorite movies to watch for Halloween. Like Christmas would be Die Hard. Halloween, it's Sleepy Hollow. So
that's just I never get tired of that fucking movie. I've had to have seen it 15 times by now, at least. We played it twice at Radar Station. I love introducing that movie. I loved everything about that movie. And the soundtrack, every time I played a movie, even if it was a comedy, I would always, the intro music as people showed up and we were popping the popcorn and getting all the drinks and stuff ready, the intro music was always the Sleepy Hollow soundtrack because it just sounds like you're walking into a movie. It's just, I love that. I love the vibe of it, you know.
Well, it's not only that, it's the, you know, for us, you know, we're older, so we got to remember the old classics, like the old cartoon version of it. You know, there's the, you know, Johnny version of it.
That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, but like being related to know the story that far back, you know, like in the cartoon version, it's very refreshing to see it, you know, in the Johnny Depp version. You know, it gives you all that, you know, tinglies about the headless horseman and all that good stuff. So that's the main reason why. You know,
I remember being fairly shocked with how violent Sleepy Hollow was. I mean, it's not like crazy gory, but there's a lot of beheadings. There's a lot of just open wounds. Like, for a Tim Burton movie, you know, he always has a little bit of violence in his stuff, but not like that. That's got to be his most violent. Well, I guess Sweeney Todd is probably his most violent film, right? Can't think of anyone that would be bigger.
Yeah, there's a lot of slit throats and blood spurting in that movie, that's for sure.
I feel it's probably comparable to Sleepy Hollow. It's hard to say those back to back. Sweeney Todd, Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Todd.
Sling-a-matado.
I'm slipping me a hot Sleepy Todd right now. Well, what about music before we get moving on? I wanted you guys to think about this, and I'm sure we've talked about this somewhere back in our past, but forgive us, we drink, and who knows, I may have been 2 years in. So I definitely change the music that I listen to when I approach. There, just like there are movies I have to watch, there are albums I have to hear. One of them, well, it's really any of the first 3 Ghost LPs. Now, obviously, this is a relatively new tradition because it's a relatively new band, but any of those first Ghost 3 LPs just do it for me. And I listen to them all the time, but I gotta listen to them when October comes running around. The next one is King Diamond's amazingly timeless classic Abigail. You know, a lot of that era metal is really frozen in time, and King Diamond is to some degree, but not like so many other bands. There's something about that album that is, to me, it's as classic as like Zeppelin 2 or I don't know, John Mark and I were just talking about Boston's first LP. Like any of the moments that seem dated, they're dated like properly and not like, woo, remember when keyboards sounded like that? You know, like literally, I love Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but literally every one of those songs sounds like, oh yeah, that was 1974.
Well, the best thing about King Diamond is that he, especially with that and them, it was a story. It was like Queensryche,
Pink Floyd, Queensryche, one of those bands.
Most of his albums are like that. They're concept albums.
They're concept albums, so they draw you in, and they're fascinating. I mean,
Abigail especially. I think the story of Abigail. I've always wanted to see someone make it into a fucking horror movie. I mean, he wrote a great classic gothic horror movie. And the story is great. You know, it's tragic. It's like Shakespearean. There's possession. There's revenge. There's sexual affairs. There's a spooky old mansion that's inherited. A coach ride. It all starts with a coach approaching a haunted mansion in the wee hours of the morning. I mean, come on. It's so good.
I think I need to revisit that album a little bit more too, because I always preferred them more than Abigail.
I feel like,
and I don't.
It's 50-50.
I'm not sure why. Because I don't know, dude. Just the song, "The Invisible Guest." That song to me, like, holy shit, that is like King Diamond personified. You know what I mean?
Well, them is great, but Abigail, I thought, was just more. I feel like them was him trying to do Abigail again, in a sort of way. I'm pretty sure them came after it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't really know, but all I know is that now that I think about it, I think King Diamond was the last live show that I saw, and it was around this time last year.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. Does he still have it? He still got that crazy ass vibrato?
It was fucking. It was great. It was fucking great.
Grandma, welcome.
It was flawless. Like his range is still incredible. He had a
and he's not well. He's got like major heart issues these days.
He had a woman that was like a backup singer that would like kind of help, like fill in like the super high stuff.
That's smart.
But it was all seamless, dude. And like the band was just like on point, and the stage show, of course, was fucking crazy. It was like this. It was like sort of like an insane asylum sort of setup with like multiple levels, like 3 levels, like stairs going up both sides and doors and like,
so good.
You know what I mean?
It's everything I love. It's Halloween. His band is Halloween. He even has a song, I think it might be called Halloween, but the lyric is Halloween, you are my bride. Like he wants to put his dick in Halloween, and I fucking relate. I mean, the closest I can get is to a pumpkin. So careful how you carve.
I'd come inside old Halloween.
I get Halloween pregnant. Now, I have to, before we move on, I have to drop this one. I know, because I share every shameful thing on this fucking show. I know I've probably brought this up before, and it pains me to do it again, but it's still true. And I thought it was worth admitting that it's still true. For some reason, some god-awful reason, I have to reach for Evanescence, The Open Door this time of year. I know. I know. Wow. There's just a vibe about that album that I really dig around this time of year. Now, I hated... I don't know if it was the album right before. It was definitely before, but you know their big one. I can't wake up.
Yeah, every time.
I hated that song. I hated anything I heard by them. I thought that other song that came, that one that was like maybe it's My Immortal. I thought that was a beautiful song, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, really depressing. And I like depressing piano.
Seether was pretty good.
Say that again.
She did a song with Seether that was pretty good.
I don't know if I know that. This album has got to be 12, 15 years old at this point, maybe even more. But there's just something about it, man. It's a surprise, and it's a surprise that it wasn't a phase. Because I've gotten into some shit that didn't really make sense for me, that came and went. Like, for whatever reason, it was scratching an itch at the time, and then I moved on. But that Evanescence Open Door... only in the autumn. Give it a spin. I don't know. It's Evanescence, so there's no way around the Evanescence of it.
Take it for what's worth.
Yeah, but so there's my top three. John Mark, where do you go? I mean, Halloween is every day for you musically, I'm guessing.
A lot of the music I listen to, like you said, is pretty Halloween-y, so it's kind of almost every day. Mm-hmm. This year, I've been listening to a lot of, but yeah, you're right about the Ghost albums around this time, and I don't know why. Like, I think I saw them. I want to say like one of the times, like around it was October something.
That might have been the show Leah and I had tickets to go to, but there's a huge storm.
It could have been the one as well in the at the off ramp, the legendary, totally oversold show that
Ghost at the off
El Porto. Oh my god! And they were just on point too, but it was just like, you know, we knew, like I could tell like where I was, like it wasn't that terrible, but like I just looking around, I was like, man, if there's a fire or something, we're fucked, because it was seriously oversold. And I would say the first Christian Death album, Only Theater of Pain, would be something to listen to. Any Alien Sex Fiends, some Bauhaus. I'm gonna have to bust out.
He's dead.
I'm gonna have to bust out.
That's Bauhaus, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bust out Ulver's Nottin's Madrigal.
Ooh, fuck, good call. Boy, I haven't heard that. I might not have heard that in a couple of years. That's great. We've talked about that.
You know, yeah, the story of a werewolf, a man turning into a werewolf, accepting his fate as becoming a werewolf.
It's painful on the ears, but I don't know what the fuck they're thinking in the mix. It was purposeful because the band knows what they're doing behind the controls. Yeah. But it sounds like the legend was that it was recorded out in the Carpathian Mountains or some shit.
The legend was that they recorded on a 4-track in the woods or something. Yeah. And like
you'd believe it when you hear it.
The story was that they took all the money, the advance money from the record label, and like bought a Corvette and some Armani suits, and then like took a 4-track out in the woods and just recorded it on 4 tracks and in the grimmest, shittiest way possible, grimmest way possible, but that's not the truth at all.
It's a neat legend. Yeah, no, they've denied it, and they're like, who the fuck would do that?
Right, yeah. It was a very purposeful, like, thoughtful way that they did that.
Oh, someone definitely has done it by now. I mean, it's a hell of an idea, and it's haunting. But there's something beautiful and tragic about that. You'll never get the wolf story out of any of it, because it's in some sort of, like, hybrid language or something.
It's like ancient Danish. There's like some dead version of Danish that he used because he thought that was like the best expression of the story he was trying to tell.
Hoover's a very interesting band because they got like a couple straight up like Norwegian black metal bands, and they got some experimental stuff. Some that you would, I guess, is almost more electronic. They're kind of like Ghost. They're super experimental. They just experiment, and they're just having fun. It's an art band. But that what is it? Nottin's Madrigal.
Yeah.
That was my
Magical
choice
of
of
the
album
night.
to fall asleep to for a long time because there's just something hypnotic and
Isn't it crazy that something
strange.
that's that abrasive on the surface can be that like lulling and
well, it's so
hypnotic
repetitive and
and
it's
sort
just
of
like
soothing.
but it's beautiful in a way. I mean, some
Yeah.
of those chords are really attractive. You know?
Like the more you listen to it, the more you can kind of pull out of the static and hear like the composition and stuff. And it's like you said, it's.
And I'm telling you, man,
beautiful.
some of those screams sound like a man who's changing into a werewolf. Not in a cartoony way, like "Maroo, ah!" just like pain. Just like fuck.
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me? I'm always attracted to that part of the werewolf legend. It's like,
Yeah.
what did I didn't do anything wrong. I got bit by this thing, or this is I was cursed by a witch, whichever legend. Built my house on a Native American burial ground. Whatever you get to that shapeshifter legend, we talk more about that in a bit. But there's just something tragic about it. It's such a good metaphor for everything's good, like an illness, right? Or a major tragedy in your life where everything's just fine. You're just a dude going through your life, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with this horrible thing that makes you kill people, and it's a curse. You can't do anything about it. I don't know. I always found something metaphorically romantic about that notion. Chris, what about you?
It's fucking great.
Halloween albums you just got to plug in?
I do have something, but it requires a little bit of a story share, and you're going to have to bear with me because I know it's going to be hard to believe.
Campfire right here.
Yeah, I'm stoned. Okay, so so I dated this really great person a while ago, and I never really cared for her music much. In fact, she's a listener of the show, our friend Katie. So, she had great taste in music, but there were some of her musical choices that kind of turned my nose up at, and I regret that a lot. But because after we broke up, I had a lot of time alone, and I had made MP3 discs of all of our CDs as backup. So I start diving deeper into some of these albums, and two bands that I always kind of laughed at that she liked became a couple of my favorite bands. And so inevitably,
Speaking of curse.
I guess so, yeah. Inevitably, I will end up listening to Death Cab for Cutie's Transatlanticism in the fall time. It just has
is the new year, baby.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that one. But some of the other tracks beyond that really have this fall vibe to me. And I remember I was walking around. I was walking to work because I rented a room from a guy down the street. It was like a mile and a half walk, and I would listen to that in the fall time. That was when I started to fall in love with it. So, and that one, and I fell in love with Pete Yorn too. I don't know if you guys ever gone to Pete Yorn.
Yeah, I know the name, but I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what his music sounded like. Maybe I've heard it.
He's got a
but-
fucking phenomenal live album, and it's like a double disc, and it's just great. I highly recommend giving it a spin. The guy's you can just tell he's a pot smoking hippie. So right there, I'm speaking to my heart. So.
True.
But I don't know. That's the only two things I could think of, and they do come up in the fall for me.
Definitely not Halloweeny, but just a fall sort of. And you already told us that the Beatles, something that you
Yeah.
listen to this time of year, yeah? Fall, winter,
Mhm,
pull up them Beatles records. Good choices. Lyle, what about you?
I'm not sure about Halloweeny, but what about Halloween? Yeah, dude.
I fucking love that shit.
Give me anything 80s.
Keeper
man.
of the Seven Keys, Part 2 especially.
I Want Out. That was probably one of their best songs. I Want Out.
Is that on Part 1 or Part 2?
It's Halloween. I think it's the title track album.
Oh, it's not on Keeper?
But like Metal Church, I love that shit, dude.
That's
This time
one of the
year,
early Seattle bands that made it big.
man.
Yeah, they were actually from like, I want to say Renton, but it was
Renton or
somewhere
something.
down there. It was
Yeah.
like somewhere like south.
Yeah.
And I remember I bought I think it was their second album, The Dark, on cassette. And I need to revisit that.
I love old metal, man. They're seriously awesome. But like Chris, I have one that really hits home, and you guys will appreciate it. I know it. But it was this time of year. I'd be walking to junior high, and I'd have my Sony Walkman with this cassette tape in it, and it was Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
Oh, yeah.
And I fucking listened to that for probably 6 months.
I would
solid.
say that has a kind of a Halloween-y vibe.
Yeah, like Moonchild. Because I remember walking to school, and that big old fucking waxing moon would be still in the sky while you're walking to school. And I'd just be like, Moonchild.
Oh, man. John Mark and I saw that last show we saw.
Son of a Seventh Son for a little bit?
I love that album. That's such a great album.
Yeah.
So somebody posted on Facebook the other night that they had just recently rediscovered Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And I was like, look, this is confession time for me. Because I remember when that album came out, I hopped in my fucking Monza. I think it was a 1981 fucking Monza. And I drove down to, I believe it was Bob Godfrey's Records and Tapes on Wenatchee Avenue.
Wow. Bob Godfrey's. Forgot about that.
Do you remember that little fucking hole in the wall, kind of like Cafe Mela is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I purchased Seventh Son of a Seventh Son on cassette, and I was like, fuck yeah, new Iron Maiden. I was so stoked, right? And I popped it in, and I was driving
synthesizers.
home, and I was like,
yeah, this is too slow.
I heard like acoustic guitars and like synthesizers, and I was like, what the fuck? And like Moonchild kicked in, and I was like, okay, but like the production to me, like the guitars like were really thin sounding to me, right? It was just like, where's the heavy? Where's the Maiden? What's happening? And
so interesting.
Like, it didn't really click with me. I was like, there's some good shit on here, but I just like a lot of stuff, but I was just like, I don't know. I was kind of let down. And it took me, I don't know how many years. There was actually, honestly, and this is going to surprise you, Ron, there was actually a period in my life where I popped in Power Slave, and like Bruce Dickinson's voice to me, like, I don't remember what song it was, but it was just like I popped the album in, I was listening to it, and I was like, it sounded cheesy and lame to me. And I was like, what the fuck? You know? And that's
the
surprising
magic was
to
gone.
me, because I was like, what the hell?
You lost the magic of Eddie. You didn't accept the power of Eddie into your heart.
I didn't. And then
that's sad.
I don't know what happened, but I don't know if this was like many years have gone by since this time, but I remember reading a post of this guy, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this was what got me to sort of revisit Seventh Son of a Seventh Son again, but I remember reading a post online, and this guy was like, yeah, every Wednesday I get home from work, and I open a bottle of wine, and I light some candles, and I drink the wine, and I lay on my floor, and I listen to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son all the way through. And
doesn't everybody?
I was like, huh. I should,
and all of a sudden you're hearing,
I should revisit this album.
You're like, holy shit.
Anyways, over the course of time, I realized, holy shit, this album is one of the best things I've ever done.
Isn't that your favorite Maiden album now?
It's got to be up there, man. I don't know. Honestly, with that band, I cannot pick a favorite album because they're all like my favorites.
I guess I had it easier leaning into that album because my first real like devouring a Maiden album was Somewhere in Time, which was the album just previous. They were already dabbling with guitar synths,
but it was just kind of like floating on the surface. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was just like, eh. And the production was still a bit heavier than Seventh Son was. And that was the album that came out when like I bought that album, and then I remember going to, I think it was fucking Nordstrom's. It was the first rock show my mom ever let me go to. Went to like Nordstrom's when you could buy tickets from Ticketmaster
wow, we're fucking old.
At a store like Nordstrom's. And
went to Kmart to get the tickets for the.
We bought those tickets. And I had them. I had a bunk bed at the time, and they were like stuck up in the bunk above me. And I'd look at them at night, like, oh my god, it's only a couple months away.
Jack off to them. Like,
and that was the first show I ever went to. My favorite band, my first big rock show was Iron Maiden at the Tacoma Dome for Seventh Son of the Seventh.
That's a hell of a first, man. That's like it's like fucking your dream girl when you're 14. Where do you go from there?
God. My ears were ringing for like 3 fucking days. Supposedly they had like one of the loudest PA systems at the time, like that had ever been put into production.
That's the devil whispering in your ear, John.
Oh God!
Come back. You're one
so
of
after
us now.
that, I was just like, okay, like how can they top this, right? And to me at the time, they didn't really, but like now looking back on it, they kind of did, you know, in a way, because like you were saying, we saw
amazing.
we saw that Made in England tour. Was it 2012?
That's what I was just gonna say. Smash cut to that all these years later, and we're watching them about to come onto the stage, starting with Moonchild, right? Like they started in this like, they're all off stage while he's like doing the 7 pass, and then they come out and it's just an explosion of fire. We got video of that from your iPhone somewhere. It's just like it's fucking, and you're 12 years old again. Fucking Iron Maiden, man. There's a lot of those bands from that era that were huge at the time that they're not really, either they're big now or they're not big now, but they're still out trying to do the old thing and still making some music, but none of them are as relevant and as vital and still making amazing albums like Iron Maiden. Like their Book of Souls, is that the name? Yeah, Book of Souls.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great album. It doesn't have the catchy snappiness that some of the shit, like there's no Run to the Hills on it, there's no Wasted Years, there's no whatever, but it's just it's a voyage. It's like they've kind of gone back to, why not? Why can't we make another 12-minute song? And they're just making art again, and it feels just as vital. Like if that shit had come out when we were 12 years old, 13, 14 years old, and that was like a follow-up, we would have been balls deep into it. There's not a lot of bands you can say that about that have been around that long. But
for listeners, there's a documentary on you watched on YouTube, and I think it's called The History of Iron Maiden. I texted you to you guys.
You used to have to buy the DVDs to get that shit. Now it's just all on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours long. It is freaking amazing. But
there's a bunch of them.
It's great.
I didn't know how many people they went through in the very first years, like Iron Maiden, and Killers. I had no idea, but it's like 12 people they've went through. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's really something to watch.
Well, they actually started in like 1975.
Yeah.
You must have seen the part on that. I think it's probably the first one where they were over on, I don't remember where they were, Greece or some shit, and they somehow stumbled into a wedding, like this small little wedding. And there was
I think that was in Poland.
There was like a stage with music, instruments, and they got up and they just started playing, and almost nobody knew who they were. Just like they crashed a wedding.
They played "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, they were playing covers.
That was like when Number of the Beast was out, or later, because that was Bruce and the band. Anyway, well, that was fun. It went about how I mean, you guys had some surprises. Death Cab for Cutie, didn't see that coming. But yeah, those old concepts.
Whatever, Evanescence, suck a dick.
I'm not making fun. I like Death Cab. Death Cab is a band that I didn't give the time of day until I heard. Well, I'd actually heard Transatlanticism years ago, and it kind of grabbed me. But it was their big album that everyone knows. Plans? Yeah, Plans. And it's got that one song that you hear. If you're going to hear any song, it's likely to be that song. It's my brain is shot right now, so I can't. But it starts out with that. Ding, ding, ding,
to the dark.
Ding, ding,
Oh.
ding, ding.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Soulmate's Body.
Yeah, Soulmate's Body. I love that fucking song. And then I gave that whole album a play, and it's like, fuck, these guys write some catchy ass fucking songs. Yeah. And of course, that's got the one that somebody came to Radar one night and they played
I Will Follow You Into the Dark.
Yes. And not everybody, because everyone didn't know it, but it was one of those magical moments where it just like 80% of the room, and it was a full room, just started singing along to it.
It's got such a haunting sound. I mean, yeah.
But anywho, we should get on to some of the creepy, huh? You guys go ahead and bring whatever you bring, and I'll maybe drop in some of these legends as interstitial material. How about that? Since they're all pretty bite-sized.
Sounds good.
And then we'll get on to some news, weird trivia, which, again, feels like it's been forever since I played.
Yeah. Can I start? I got one. I got a good one.
Right.
Creeping me the fuck out in the best possible way. Okay. We have talked about the murder house in Wenatchee that I used to live across from.
Yeah.
Murder house. Lyle, can I get a creepy murder house?
A little echo.
Voice? Perfect.
Nice and cheesy.
Or are you talking about like the murder.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Save that for Murder Hornets, which I will be updating us on later.
Oh, yeah. 2020 just keeps on giving, don't it?
The story that we're talking about is there's this house notoriously in Wenatchee that back in the 80s, a guy killed his mom, and she was sitting out there in the early morning in the lawn, and people walked by thinking it was a Halloween decoration.
Yeah, he basically was sitting on the front porch rocking back and forth. No, that was different.
Yeah, he was in the house watching TV.
Yeah, there's a couple stories that I get confused too. This one,
and he was in the house watching cartoons with the machete on his lap as he was rocking back and forth.
Yeah, that's this one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought that one was. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is there is a story that dropped into the news yesterday or today for me, and it's about, I'm sending you guys the link. It's about a neighbor that is decorating his house so terrifyingly that cops keep getting called on it when you see it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And multiple times a day, police are showing up, different cops.
Ooh, Jesus.
I know.
That's pretty damn good. But
Yeah,
come on,
I mean,
would you well...
oh, man, look at
that
these.
smashed... Okay, I got to describe. So there's a really
sure.
funny one that's a safe that fell off the roof and somebody...
It's just a little hyperbolic, and but you can see how somebody might just at a quick glance be like, "What the fuck?" But it's pretty over the top.
That one
Oh,
it is,
for sure.
but that one in the front. I guess you got to compare it to what you usually see this time of year, right? Like you usually see the inflatable Dracula, some pumpkins. Everything's kind of cutesy, you know. It wasn't
Some
that way growing up,
running
but now
around,
everything looks like Hobby Lobby for the most part. So in that age, seeing this on your way to church, yeah, I could see a couple people dialing 9 and a couple 1s. Mm-hmm.
9 and a couple.
Goddamn care.
That safe one's hilarious. There's a safe fell off the roof and smashed somebody in the head, and it's just this perfect, like they really nailed the splatter. Like that's about how, I mean, it's exaggerated, but you would imagine that it would sort of smash out like that. And then there's a wheelbarrow full of limbs, but it's the bodies that really look good, and the blood. They got the blood right. You know, fake blood is usually pretty fake looking. That looks like blood.
Yeah,
It looks like blood. Yeah.
yeah.
I thought that.
That looks just like it.
Yeah.
I got a dialysis story I probably should share with you guys.
No,
It's pretty nice.
do it.
Yeah. Well, okay, you know, like so what they do is they clean your arm before they stick you, and they stick you with the 12 gauge needle, and it's about 3 inches long, and it has a plastic tube which is probably 5 inches long off the needle, right? And at the end of that usually has a cap, right? So when they stick you, the blood just stays in there, right? Well, when I went in yesterday, they stuck the needle in my arm, and it didn't have a cap on it. So I was basically just fucking shooting blood everywhere.
Wow. Are they just stupid? I don't understand.
That's amazing, because Sarah just went to get like a tuberculosis test. She's a teacher, or she's working at a Montessori preschool, and they have to test everybody for certain things. That, like, the exact same thing happened. Like it wasn't. So was blood going everywhere, or was the injection going everywhere?
So what happens is all those needles are wraps, right? Just the way I just described them. So they're completely sealed. They're completely sealed. So they pull them out of these bags and they set them down, and then that's usually when they stick you. And you know, like I said, they're long enough that, like, if you have the needle in your hand and you go in to stab somebody, you're not going to be wondering where the other end is. And the problem is that, like, between the blood pressure that's in my fistula, that shit was like just gone. I mean, it was like a foot by foot puddle, you know, within seconds. And she was like, "Oh shit!" And fucking luckily she caught it in time. But it was also it was the blood day, which every Monday, my Monday, which is a Tuesday,
The blood day.
they take 3 vials of blood from me, and they take it to analysis and you know, run tests on it and stuff like that. Well, there's a little contraption that they stick these vials in. As they fill up, they just, you know, add another one and add another one. That one did the same thing. So actually, she just got done fucking cleaning up a huge blood pile fucking that thing went off and left another blood fucking pile.
So Christopher's question is valid. Are they just stupid? Are they tired? Are they overworked? What's happening
It's
here?
not stupid. The first one was kind of a mistake on the manufacturers because they're supposed to have end caps in them.
I see.
So they basically clamp off the tubing and then take that M cap off and then connect you to the machine. And then they open up the clamp and then it just runs blood through the machine.
Yeah.
So it's just a connection on the way to the final, being hooked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first time that's ever happened, though. For me, anyway. I've never seen that happen, and that just tells you the validity of those fist clothes.
Hopefully
on how much
first and last. Yeah. What's funny is that someone out there who has a needle phobia or just medical phobia in general, that'll probably be the spookiest story of the night. They're like, they're white knuckling it, like.
And I was tempted to do it a few times, is videotape them fucking sticking me, and to put them on just social media.
Oh, that would be a good time to get it.
I just don't. I don't
reel.
Yeah. You don't understand. These are like needles are 3 inches long and they're like 12 gauge. They're fucking huge.
I don't know what
they
12
have to
gauge
be
means in needles, but it sounds big.
Can you imagine the number 2 pencil?
I can.
Yeah. Well, shave the outer edge of it.
Zip.
Seriously?
The lead, the thickness of a lead. That's the thickness of that needle.
Oh,
it's fucking huge.
Yeah, well, that's still pretty fucking big.
Well, it's big enough to transfer a blood flow. You know what I mean? Because
you got to get that much blood. Why would you want to sit there with one of those like diabetic needle types? That'd take you all day. You got to get 3 vials.
Shit to do, man. You're only there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You want to be there for 8 hours? Come on.
Well, I'm going to start with one of my legends, and then we'll move on to anything else you guys got. This one, now all of these come from Thrillist. Like I said, I don't usually just read, I almost never just read things right off of the websites. But time permitting, I thought this would be a fun way to go. So I have to give 100% credit to Thrillist.com. And this list is basically the United States broken into legends. Now, I'm not going to go through all 50, of course, but I picked a few of the highlights that jumped out at me. And Alabama's was the Dead Children's Playground. This really fired my imagination. Give it a little listen. This eerie playground adjacent to Maple Hill, Huntsville's oldest cemetery, doesn't just have an eerie nickname for fun. The playground was presumably designed to entertain kids while their parents visited the graves of loved ones. A legend has it that the spirits of the children who've been buried in the cemetery since the first grave was dug there in 1822 come out to play at night. The living have observed orbs of light going down. Can you imagine walking into, maybe you went to visit a loved one, put some flowers on the grave, clean it up a little bit. As you're heading out, the sun's setting, you hear a group of kids playing on the old rusty playground, and then when you turn and
on
look,
the empty-ass playground that's got nothing
there,
going on.
but the swings are going back and forth. Maybe you see like a glowing thing going down the slide.
Come on, come play with us.
Oh my God. Well done. Creepier still, some say the spirits include victims of a rash of child murders that happened in the 1960s, when bodies were rumored to have been found in the area that now house the playground. The Alabama Dead Children's Playground. Starting with I don't know, there's something about that really, it's a good story. At the very least, that's a good story. Let me jump into one more and I'll get back to you guys. Arkansas, the Dog Boy. Now, this goes back to, you brought up Katie. I'm going to bring her back up, or more importantly, her dad, in just a moment. If I'm thinking of the right person, am I
You are, yeah.
Okay.
100%.
The Dog Boy of Arkansas. Now, the name sounds kind of goofy, or actually kind of like Goofy, but if you find yourself at 65 Mulberry Street in the middle of the minuscule Arkansas town of Quitman, you won't laugh if you see the hulking outline of a 300-pound half-man, half-beast, complete with glowing animal eyes glaring out of the windows. Walk quickly, as he has been known to chase people down his street, biting at their heels like a dog. Now, this is interesting. It goes on to say, this is actually the rare urban legend where the story behind the story ends up being even creepier than the folklore. Gerald Bettis, the only son of the Bettis family of 65 Mulberry, was always a problem child, but not in the cute Junior Healy way. Bettis would collect and torture animals, hence the dog boy moniker, before turning his sociopathic focus to his elderly parents, allegedly imprisoning them in their own home and potentially even murdering his own father.
What the fuck?
Eventually, Bettis would be imprisoned for growing marijuana, which I found very ironic. And while in prison, he died of a drug overdose in 1988. Not really justice. Like, of all the things that he did to go to prison for pot. But
no kidding.
He dead now, and that's all that matters. Now, the reason I wanted to go back to Katie's dad, remind me his name, Chris?
Oh my God, Brad. Excuse me.
Yeah, we had him on the show a long time ago. He, from what I got, what he said, it's not that he's the kind of person that would, in a kind-spirited way, mock most of what we talk about on the show.
Oh,
fair?
Sure. But he loves it. Mock it because he's not stupid.
But he had a story about a creature like this. I believe it was in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was out. Remember, he was out in the desert and he was driving along the highway and he saw a creature like this. And he described it almost exactly like that. Like this giant, muscly. I remember, it's been a long time, but I remember it being like a man body with a fucking wolf head. It was a werewolf.
Yeah.
He saw it. He saw it move, and he had some other experiences all on that same stretch of highway that same day. And I found that report to be very interesting because as a skeptic or as someone who even would mock you for what you talk about, which I get, to all of a sudden say, but I did see a werewolf. It's like that I think is an interesting, because we all know people that tend to see everything. I'm a little more skeptical of those people. No, I'm a lot more skeptical of those people. Not that they're liars and not that they're crazy, but probably somewhere in between. Somewhere in between lie and cray lies them. But when there's somebody that just seems like they're a skeptical, level-headed human being, questions all, they tell you that they saw a fucking werewolf on the side of the road. Wasn't a statue. Didn't look like. Now, obviously, it could have been special effects. Could have been someone out there filming a movie. I'm sure we even probably brought that up when we were talking with them. But interesting. I don't know how I would react if I was just cruising along out in the desert night and saw on the side of the road, out in the middle of nowhere, as I remember, no practical reason to be out there.
That also
dog man.
That also fits with the skinwalker and
Absolutely.
the kind of shapeshifter legends.
Is that out in Arizona too? Where is the Skinwalker Ranch?
I don't know.
Colorado, maybe. Wyoming. I don't know. Seems like it's somewhere. It's somewhere. But
that's for sure.
I was just kind of taken by that description. It's like I feel like that's what Brad's story. Again, it's been a while. I could be wrong, but I feel like his story was like that. Like this was this bulking, monstrous dude.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
What's kind of cool, which is I thought this was a new story, but it's actually already October 20th. There is a new Mothman documentary coming out, which is already out. I don't know where, but it's recanting the. I guess it's on YouTube. This is the trailer. It's called The Mothman Legacy, and it sums up basically a little bit of the old story that we all knew from 1975. But
was that the Point Pleasant one?
1966. It's 1967 in Point Pleasant, but it's they might have actually new stuff. So be definitely something.
I gotta be honest. The Mothman story never really gripped me. Not as a character, not as a.
Really, he's one of my favorites.
I hear a lot of people. I feel like Mothman. Oh, he would have gripped me as a lover. Stare into my red eyes. I'm a harbinger of cum.
Oh my God!
I do
I'm
like
turgid.
I do like the legend itself. Like I like the idea that there is this harbinger, and I like that people have two minds about the Mothman. Where is it actually bringing the danger, or is it warning of the danger? If it's the latter, it could do better, right? Like, be more specific. Don't just sit up on a bridge that's about to collapse. But for some reason, it's just like, I don't know. It's not my least favorite cryptid to discuss, but it's just not one of those things that ever gripped me. And I didn't like the movie.
The whole carload of people died. There was 4 people in the car, and they were just hauling ass back in 1960s, which you're looking about 80, 90 miles an hour, with the typical, sedan. But having those big old red eyes following you for miles, that doesn't grip you at all.
Well, if it happened to me in real life,
back in those days,
then, but
it's not like a drone or not.
Oh yeah, I do like elements of it for sure. But I'll check out a new documentary on it. I just feel like the other thing about the Mothman is that I feel like all the stories are the same, and so maybe it's like a box that I've just checked off in my head. But again, I'll check it out, and maybe it's time that we get one of our cryptozoologist experts back on the show, like Ken Gerhard or some of the others that we've had on that cover all of them.
Sure.
Because I'm just not. I'm just not thrilled by it.
Of cryptids, since we're going to move on since that, did you know, this is an awesome story, apparently Brian Johnson from AC/DC, you remember AC/DC?
No, yes.
They were over in the Loch Ness area, right? And apparently him and Malcolm Young got fucked up, and Malcolm I guess got a box of fireworks, right? And they decided that they were going to go down to the lake and try to lure the Loch Ness monster. So they got entirely fucking. Could you just imagine
like an AC/DC weekend?
Exactly, man. Down on the fucking lake with their foot, and he said, "Well, this is funny because this is what Brian says." He goes, apparently, he goes, "Come on, let's go find the Loch Ness monster. I got fireworks and might attract it." That's what Malcolm said to Brian. So they. As you can imagine, the night ensued of letting fireworks off and getting pretty inebriated before they stumbled all muddy home to the hotel where their wives were at, waiting for them home. That's just funny, though, right?
Yeah, I can picture that. Well, what would truly lure Loch Ness? I don't think explosions and bright light is going to lure any mysterious creature of the night. If I'm being
it's gonna be Sassy's big old schlong in there, like a big worm.
It's a dangler.
Are we in 2020 and still lacking porn involving cryptids fucking each other? Someone's had to have made Bigfoot fucks Chupacabra. I mean, somewhere between just like freak porn that people are into and, I don't know, maybe the furry thing. Couldn't there be some sort of offshoot, pun intended, about...
Yeah,
why not?
You heard of kaiju? Get ready for Kumju.
Yeah, Kumju fights the Loch Ness monster. This thing ratchets out. I'd watch the Loch Ness monster fight, fuck anything. It used to be who would win in a fight. Now it's who would win in a fuck. We take these, we pin cryptids.
Oh my God, I'm totally starting who would win in a fuck. It's just going to be the same thing.
Pornhub.com needs to get on who would win in a fuck.
You'd be old AC/DC in the background going,
I keep meaning to bring a story about the death of Bon Scott, because there's something fucking weird going on there. The original AC/DC singer. His story is really tragic and bizarre. Like his death, I mean, it was a surprise to nobody. That dude was hard living, hard fucking, hard drinking maniac. But the way that he died and where he was found and all that, wasn't
he found? I didn't like fully like delve into this, but wasn't he like found in a car or something? Like wasn't he in
right outside his friend's apartment or his apartment?
Choke on his own vomit in his car like Jimi Hendrix did? Like, but Jimi Hendrix wasn't in the car. Like,
see, that's one of the many
interpretations.
Interpretations of what happened. But there's strange things all around it. Like, it was cold out. It was like February or some shit outside, and they just left him like out in a car with no heater, no blankets, maybe one blanket or something. Just left him out there to die. They didn't know he was gonna die. Maybe. There's some weird things about it, but really, just it's like who. There's all these situations like, well, okay, there are 4 or 5 people involved. It's like, well, why didn't that guy do anything? Why didn't that girl do anything? That girl he went out with that night. There's so many people that just dropped the ball on Bon Scott that night. It was like, yeah, he'll be fine out in 15 degrees.
Well, let's get into this. What's the story as you understand it?
Well, I don't have all the details in front of me, but I remember he basically went out to a show, I think, with one of his female friends. I don't know if that friend was somebody who was fucking or not. They got back and he was like wasted, and there were some people partying up in the flat that the car was parked in front of. I can't remember. I feel like Bon Scott lived in that place, or he was staying in that place. And they had been recording in the studio and then going back to that place and getting drugs and then going out and partying. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of details in between. That's the real interesting thing. But then it all culminates in this big question, which was, why did you guys think it was okay to leave your inebriated, passed out, or passing out friend out in a car when it was going to be, it wasn't 15 degrees, but it was winter temperatures, from what I remember. And or even leaving him alone like that, it was a strange thing. And there were some shady characters involved too, like drug dealer friends. And
so, do you know offhand what the official cause of death for him was deemed to be?
Death by misadventure, I believe, is what they actually put on his.
So they didn't say it was like, choking on his own vomit or like
that. The choking on your own vomit tends to be something that one person suggests or somebody in the media says, and then they go with it. I don't know that any of those choking on their own vomit stories are actually like a coroner's best analysis.
Well,
I could be wrong.
If you're on some kind of heavy narcotics or some kind of drugs and drinking alcohol, that's definitely something that can happen if you are laying on your back and you puke and you just aspirate your vomit and you don't, you know what I mean? Like, you just can't.
It happens.
It totally happens.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility, but it's like, if he was just really drunk and passed out in a car in cold weather, he definitely could have died just from because being his system is not going to be producing the same kind of heat it would if he wasn't super wasted, right? And the cold would affect him way more, and he wouldn't have the ability to be like, oh, I'm fucking cold, I need to get up and get out of here, right? So that could definitely be a cause.
Here's a little chunk from Wikipedia, and then we'll move on. Sometime during the late evening of February 18th and the early morning of February 19th, Scott passed out and died at the age of 33. He had just visited a London club called the Music Machine. He was left to sleep in a Renault 5 owned by a friend of Scott's, Alistair Kinnear. Later that day, Kinnear found Scott lifeless and alerted the authorities. Scott was taken to King's College Hospital in Camberwell, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The chronology of the events on the 19th and where exactly Scott was found dead has been challenged by Jesse Fink's 2017 book, Bond: The Last Highway, which quotes UFO guitarist Paul Chapman as having been informed early that morning. Yeah, that was another one of the weird ones. Which quotes UFO guitarist Paul Chapman as having been informed early that morning by Scott's friend Joe Fury that Scott was dead. This didn't fit the timeline of what they said had happened or how they had discovered it. Because Kinnear said he found Scott in the evening. And Chapman claims Scott and Fury were with him the previous evening of the 18th, and Scott left his apartment to buy heroin, never to return. The official cause was listed on the death certificate as death by misadventure or acute alcohol poisoning, but most people now seem to think that it was a heroin overdose. So there's so many. It's more about what led up to it. It's like that final night is one of those really interesting last 24 hours. That
that sounds shady.
Well,
it's all shady. It's super fucking shady. Go ahead, Bob.
it's something pretty rock starry to fucking have that as
Death
your
by
costume.
misadventure.
Dude.
That's a pretty rock way to go out, huh? Death by misadventure. That sounds like you died licking pussy or something on a roof and fell off.
While you were rock climbing and doing a bunch of
He was misadventuring. What do you expect?
I can honestly see picture this scenario. I can honestly see a group of like rock industry people going out to a club, getting fucked up, going back to where they're staying, and one of their crew is like just you know what I mean? Like they're all fucked up. They finally get back home. He doesn't want to move. Just leave me here. I'll be fine. Whatever. You know what I mean? And they're all wasted, so they don't stop to think, oh well, it's going to be really cold tonight, and he should probably come inside, and they have the wherewithal. You know what I mean?
Well,
I
it's
can
a different
see,
time though. Too,
I can see that
cocaine.
happening to where someone would not have the presence of mind to say, oh wait, we really should get him in because it's not safe for us to leave him out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucked up.
Well,
though.
Going back to, I think it was Christopher, or one of you brought it up. Maybe it was you, John Mark. It is still listed that he did choke on his own vomit somewhere in the official records, but yeah, who knows? There's a lot of argument and a lot of wiggle room in what happened and when it happened and why and how, and even who was making that final decision, how he died. That's been challenged by other experts. So, yeah, who knows? Again, it's one of those things where it's like no one is surprised that the dude died at 33 from chemicals. Nobody on planet Earth is surprised. But there's a lot of that doesn't mean that people handled it right, you know. And there's some questions that never got answered. That guitarist for UFO, I saw an interview with him, and he has all sorts of things to say that conflict the official stories. Like, that doesn't jive with what I was told and when I was told it. So, you know, I'm not pointing fingers here, but something ain't right. And a lot of people who are friends with him said something ain't right. Why didn't you take him in the fucking car? It's February. Can you imagine leaving anybody out in a car in February because they're too shit-faced? He'll be fine. I can't imagine that.
Makes sense.
I can't imagine leaving a stranger. If I had the opportunity to do something about a stranger being out in a car in February, I'd probably let somebody know, at the very least. This is Bon goddamn Scott. AC/DC was a rock band at that point. He was a rock star at this point. Not that makes him more important, but it makes, like, if you're... Who was doing this math to think that nobody was going to come asking questions? Is ultimately what I think. But anywho, can you guys hear my cat in the background?
Oh yes.
Like I said, I think it could just be like the fact that they were all really fucking wasted and just couldn't deal with them. Like, we'll come back and get them later, and they just went inside, just forgot about it or passed out themselves. You know,
there's times that if you're partying and getting drunk, you might forget. You know, you just get too fucked up. You know, and totally forget about the person out there. It could happen, I suppose.
Sorry.
I got one last one. It's you know how a lot of certain theaters are haunted, like the Moore Theater in Seattle is supposed to be haunted. What is it? The Columbia supposed to be haunted.
Liberty, yeah.
Liberty. It's supposed to be haunted with spooky spooks. Up in Canada, in Iran, I'm not entirely sure where in Canada. This venue, we'll call it, is running its own little resident haunt contest, where to say, during the whole epidemic of, they've been hit hard just like everybody else, but they're putting up tickets for $25 to give you a space to spook in the afterlife.
They're giving they're selling haunt apartments.
Basically, yeah. So what they're going to do is
that's a beautiful scam.
Yeah,
that's like selling stars.
Like I said, a lot of the bigger theaters they're known to be haunted, and apparently this one doesn't have any haunts. So what they're going to do is,
where's our ghost?
Exactly. They're raffling off tickets for $25, and they're going to pick a winner this coming Halloween. So you yourself too, if you have enough time, could pitched in your $25 to be have your little ghost hotel.
Well,
You haunted for the.
who's going to keep you out if you're a ghost?
Well, that's the whole thing. They're giving you a free invite.
I guess they're not going to call an exorcist or
Nah.
some ghost chaser to spook you out.
Right.
Well, that's an interesting tale. I love that there's a theater that feels bad about not having ghosts. Like, why did anyone want to haunt us? We're a perfectly fine small community theater.
The Regent Theater of Prince Edward County is the theater. So yeah.
By the way, does anyone know why getting your dickhead pierced is called a Prince Albert?
I remember I was told once, and it was funny or weird, but I can't remember now. Oh wait, no, I do remember. Do you know?
I don't. Not off the top
I actually do remember.
Not off the top of my head. See what I did?
I could be wrong here, but as I remember it, there was a fashion thing at one point.
Hey, do you have Prince Albert in a can? Why don't you let him out?
Classic.
That's exactly it. But this is for real. So tailors would start to put like a hook or like a ring in their trousers because your dick would go one way or the other, and they would start piercing men's dicks, and it would hook into this ring. And so it would go one way or the other, and it was done like specifically for a prince named Albert, like he needed it, like or something to that effect. Really? I believe that's why it's called a Prince Albert piercing.
It's like, well, it's on the left, but if I go to the right, I might make too many circles. You understand? So I got to be pinned to the left.
Oh my God, that's a crazy origin. Huh? That's crazy enough to just be right. I'm gonna take your word for it. Someone will let us know if that's wrong, but that is not what I was expecting.
I want to know if I am wrong, but I'm going to look it up after this, but I think I'm right.
Well, my question is, like, you gonna have, like, some weird, like, don't let the streams cross? You'd have, like, some kind of weird fucking...
Like so many opportunities to snaggle puss.
Like, totally. Like, just disaster. Spells disaster for me.
It's like, is it really that big of a deal to just grab your wiener and, like, slap it to the left or to the right? I mean, don't we all have to do that when we're putting pants on? It's like it's a move you do without thinking about it, right?
Well, usually it just has a natural lean too.
Am I the only one that has to stretch it out and tuck it, kiss it in? Well, let me move on to a couple more of these. Let's see. Let me skip ahead because we're running toward the end here. This is the Dark Vortex of Dudleytown. A rumor has it that any visitor that steals, this is in Connecticut, any visitor that steals an artifact from Dudleytown will have a curse put on them and their family. The Dudleytown Forest visitors report seeing just about every kind of paranormal phenomena you could think of. People describe an unnerving lack of wildlife in the area. That is unnerving. Like a forest where you don't hear any birds or any movement at all. That would be creepy. In an area as well as floating orbs and sinister wolf-like black shadows, murmurs, and disembodied voices, as well as feeling a general dread.
Sounds like my sex life, dude.
Especially the wolf part. Hang on, I think I might have to sneeze. No, we're good. No.
I can't get out of my head the when you said Dudleytown, I was thinking of fucking Bullwinkle. Rocky and Bullwinkle show.
It could be one of those weird ones where it's like Dudleyton. So it can't go. Especially being on the East Coast. Like Dartmouth. It's Dartmouth. I'm
thinking about Canada too much.
Dartmouth, motherfucker.
Dudley do right. Oh, no. So wolf-like black shadows.
Well, harem.
Not again. Goes on to say that, and on the fact that there's a mysterious group called the Dark Forest Association. That's a cult that I would at least check out. That polices the grounds with militant force, and you've got yourself a serious case of the what the hell is really going on here. Well, the curse of the ill-fated Dudleys began in jolly old England, where Edmund Dudley was beheaded for conspiring against King Henry VII. This treacherous act apparently unleashed a curse on the rest of the Dudley clan, which emigrated from Guilford, which immigrated from Guilford, England, to Cornwall, Connecticut in 1748. Now, they helped establish a community centered around the town's then thriving iron industry before a series of untimely disasters befell the family. These calamities included a series of mysterious deaths, which in turn inspired madness and suicide among the Dudley family, several of whom disappeared into the woods, never to be seen again. The remaining residents very sensibly ditched the town, which has been abandoned ever since. The dark
Sounds like a quaint little place to go.
Of Dudley Town. A little quick one here. This is in Kentucky. The Witch Girl of Pilot's Knob.
Saw that
Sounds
movie
like
too.
something Chris might have watched.
When I was up Manson, I was doing a house when I was working a couple of years back, and there was a dead end street, and it was called Gobbler's Knob.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's just reminded me of that anyway.
What had to have what had to have gone down? No pun intended.
I mean, somebody went to the city and said, "Oh, I want a street named Gobbler's Knob." Okay, it's got a pass.
Old judge was like, "All right,
You got it.
you got
couple
it.
houses.
One Gobbler's Knob coming right up, and I mean up." All right, so this takes us to Kentucky, the Witch Girl of Pilot's Knob. Just looking at the pictures of young Mary Evelyn Ford's grave feels a bit unnerving, with a series of interlocking white crosses forming a fence around a pit of gravel and the bars appearing unnaturally bent in some places. And then, we might have talked about this before in the show. This sounds familiar. And then you hear the alleged backstory. A mother and daughter, both accused of witchcraft, burned at the stake in 1916, which seems late. I wonder if that's a typo. Maybe 1860. With the mother's charred remains being carried to a far-off location while the daughter was buried in a steel-lined coffin, covered in stone and encased in crosses to prevent her escape. Now, some have claimed to witness tiny footprints appearing in the gravel, or even a young ghostly figure trying to escape from the gravesite.
No thanks.
No fucking thanks. Don't like seeing a grave that's like basically imprisoned. It's troubling enough. Seeing those prison bars being bent and tiny foots walking out in the gravel. We'll skip.
Hard pass.
Let me end on this one. This is a good one. This takes us to Virginia. This is the Bunny Man Bridge. The legend is fun to repeat at campfires, which is fitting for tonight, of course, but the real sightings beyond the legend are some to give you nightmares. In 1970, there were numerous police reports of people who had been threatened by a man holding an axe, wearing a white suit with bunny ears. A few individuals reported that the man in the suit actually threw the axe at them as they were trespassing on his property. To this day, there have been many sightings of dead rabbits appearing in the woods surrounding Fairfax Bridge, now known as the Bunny Man Bridge, as well as a white figure appearing late at night underneath the bridge. Now, the legend says that in 1904, a group of convicts were piled onto a bus to be transported from an asylum in Clifton, Virginia, to a nearby prison. En route, one of these buses crashed, and the convicts managed to escape, and the police were able to round up all but one of the convicts. As their search went on, this sounds like this perfect setup for a horror movie. And their search went on. As their search went on, they began to find skinned, half-eaten bunnies in the woods and hanging from the overpass of Fairfax Bridge, which is once again now known as the Bunny Man Bridge. Now, a year later, on Halloween night, several teens went to hang out under the bridge. Come morning, they were all found dead.
Grave mistake.
I don't care how much you like Red Hot Chili Peppers' classic Under the Bridge, brah. Not the fucking Dead Bunny Bridge. It is said that if you hang out under the bridge on Halloween night, you will meet the same fate as the rabbits and the teenagers. probably bullshit. But are you going to camp out under the Bunny Man Bridge in Virginia and prove us wrong? I bet you won't. I bet you fucking won't. Good stuff. Now, anything you guys want to end on, and then we can head on to Weird Trivia.
I got an update on the murder hornets that's pertinent. It just happened.
Yeah, I saw the headline, but I don't have any deeds. Give it to us.
I even got something fresh off the press from 2 hours ago, motherfuckers. Excuse me. Okay, so interestingly, they still haven't been able to locate a murder hornet nest, and it's starting to become worrisome because I guess come wintertime, these things kind of hunker down and hibernate or whatever they fucking do, and then in the springtime they come out after they've multiplied, and that's when we're gonna have props. So they were finally able to. So what they have to do is they have to like capture one alive and then attach a tracker to it so they can track it back to its nest. The first time they captured one alive, the team showed up, and how do you think you would get a tracker on one of these things?
Well, I remember capturing wasps and very carefully tying a string around their thorax and then like flying them around like a kite in your living room.
Yes.
To get bored.
She's telling stories about this.
But
you told us this before.
But I don't remember how the fuck we did that. We did it. We definitely did it. This is not urban legend.
I had
we
friends
did
that would
it.
like freeze them. They'd freeze them, and then because they would come back to life, and so they could tie the string around them.
Oh,
I never saw it.
I don't remember the freezing part. Don't do that, folks.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I would, well, maybe is that it? Did they freeze them?
So no. Well, initially they tried to super glue one on. I guess that was their good idea, but
that doesn't seem cruelty free.
Like as it flew away, its wings got caught in the super glue and it just died.
My hunch was right.
Yeah.
Super glue plus delicate insect wings, not a match.
Does not work. So, and then they used a string. They tied a string to it, and they were able to track it down to the first fucking nest. And it's up in Blaine, Washington. I have some photos here of kind of what happened. I'm going to send right over to the Facebook for you guys. Basically, though, they were able to seal up the tree and suck out like 100 of these things into a giant like vacuum tube. They were able to capture roughly like 15 or 20 of them alive.
Looks like a giant what you'd put your money in at the bank. You know,
one of those. What do they call those? The tubes. The pneumatic? No.
Yeah, pneumatic. Mm-hmm.
Whoa, those fuckers are big.
Dude,
that's what
I think those beekeeping suits. They look like futuristic astronauts.
Well, apparently, get this shit. The wasps can spit and hit you with something, and it fucks you up. So that's why they have to wear. Like these keep getting worse. Apparently, they can shoot something at you too. I don't think it's the venom, but it's something that will fuck you up. So they have to wear the suits like that.
Like fucks you up how? Like some sort of psychedelic thing, or like a pain in your eye?
I heard it in a podcast, and I can't remember the details now. But
we're this close to tracker jackers, aren't we?
God, it's bad, dude. So they didn't find any queens, and that was really worrisome to them. There's two big worries right now. The first is they didn't find any queens. The second is this hive is too far away from other sightings they've had, so they know there's more than one hive we're dealing with. So as of 2 hours ago, though, my pictures shows it, they were able to capture 2 queens out of the tree because they wrapped it up and they bombed the thing, and then it's crazy.
Oh, that's the 2 right here.
Yeah,
are they bigger?
Pill bottles?
Yeah, I think they are
huge. If that was like a normal, just a pill bottle,
I know that's kind of what I
think they might be.
Jesus,
that's the thing. They're fucking huge. We had a video of one killing a rat.
You guys saw that video that I posted a while back of that guy purposefully being stung by one of these, right?
Yeah.
He was in fucking agony.
Yeah.
I want to know more about this substance that they spit at you. That's an evolution.
Murder hornets.
Spit.
See what that comes up with. A powerful sting can spit venom. They target honeybees, which pollinate crops. They can destroy a colony in just a matter of hours. Yeah, they have a venom they can spit.
Well, I don't like that.
I've seen what they do with normal bees, and the bees, what they do is they all team up on them, and then they flap their
we talked about this. They roast them. Their bodies can sustain 2 degrees higher than the murder hornets, so they fucking take it right to the limit and roast them.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. They wait for the last second. Like if they let the fucking guy come into the colony and they wait for it to kill a bee and they swarm it instantly. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got. You guys want to get on to some weird trivia?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a break real quick. But
Let's
first,
do it.
remind me again where these bees were found.
Blaine, up by the
Washington.
border.
God, that's really close to you, Chris. I mean, well,
Too close for
relatively.
comp. Yeah.
And a very similar climate. You know, the climates between are divided by the mountains. That's between you and I. You might have a bit of a hit. Washington, we're not having a grand old year. We were the first to get COVID, as far as we know. That may not be true. Now, I think New York might have actually been the first, but we were definitely the first to have some sort of an outbreak. What else we got? We were definitely the first to have the murder hornets, right?
Yeah, we had looting and rioting.
We had what?
Oh, that's
Looting and rioting in Seattle for fucking.
Oh boy, that was weird, wasn't it? That was a weird. God, doesn't that seem like a year ago? I guess it's getting close to it. Good Lord, that was in like what, May? That was in April or May.
Chaz/Chop.
Chaz. Yeah, boy, that was a big thing. And a rabbit hole I went down for a while. All right, let me go refill my drink and get rid of a couple, and we'll finish this fucker out.
Okay, we are gonna get on with this.
I'm curious what this photo has to do, because I've been curious about this company.
Yeah, I have a great question regarding them. So, okay, we're going to start things off with some excitement, guys, as our first question was not only submitted by a listener, but it's also a goddamn Florida Daily double.
Oh, shit. Does that mean it's worth 3
Ding,
points?
ding, 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 ding.
No, it's worth fucking 4 points tonight, motherfucker.
Holy shnikes. Wow, you could win with this one question.
One question. Really put your heart into it, guys, and maybe your wiener. Huge thanks to Teresa for sending this over to me. I love this story. Back in May, a company called Liquid Death Mountain Water did something fun and kind of funky with its negative reviews and hate mail it was getting. So I think I've seen ads for this on Facebook quite a bit. I've never actually had this, but they're kind of branded as this metal water, right? I mean, it's just looks like a death metal band made.
God, I hate it so much. Fuck.
I was wondering if you might.
Has anyone tasted it, though?
No, I'm
Hell
sure.
no.
It's canned water.
It's water in a can with some fucking graphics on it. Like, fuck.
It's got to be, what, $2 or $3 a can, too?
I'm sure, but then their theme is like murder your thirst, you know, like that's
it's great marketing. It's silly,
truly
hilarious. I thought it was a joke. I think a lot of people thought it was a joke.
I guess depending on where you sit on, what side of the fence you sit on, for sure. Now, we kind of talked about what this looks like. Motto is murder their thirst. So back in May, they did something kind of funky with this, the bad reviews they were getting. What did they do? And some of the reviews they were getting were comments like these, dumbest name ever for water, fire your marketing guy, that kind of thing. These are like reviews people are leaving them. So what did they do? They had a collection of these comments painted in 10-foot font on the side of their headquarters.
Ooh, that's brilliant.
10 foot. B, produced a 10-song death metal album titled and inspired by the comments. Is it C, started putting the bad reviews directly onto their cans and boxes?
Oh, I like that. That's like the Jones Soda, where they would have people submit their own photos. You remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know if Jones is still around, but
I have a friend of mine got the pictures of her sons on Jones Soda.
yeah, I know a couple people that it worked. It was a cool concept and it worked.
Or was it D, the CEO of the company had some of these reviews tattooed onto his lower back a la tramp stamp style? Ronster, you're going to go first tonight.
Oh, God. I love the idea of these being murals on the side of the building, but what are the odds of that building being in a prominently located place? You really got me thinking with that tramp stamp. And then the can, I think I got to go with C. C was they printed it right on the cans, right?
Cans and boxes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's your best coverage for that joke. Although I like A.
Okay.
I like A the most.
Okay. Joe Mark?
I think the on the product itself is a genius move, honestly, to have like negative reviews on your fucking product. That's some shit right there.
I think Kevin Smith has done that on his movies, hasn't he? Where he's put some of the negative.
Yeah, there's posters and stuff.
Yeah.
Lyle?
Well, you know, I've seen Liquid Death play for Black Label Society. Zach Wild. I'm gonna go with they made an album, man.
The fucking death metal album.
Fucking look what that. Blah, blah, blah.
This could be brutal or nothing at all if we all missed.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. Okay, question 2. Netflix recently announced that one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger flicks is gonna be turned into a live-action series they plan on shooting sometime this year. Now, if you don't spoil it.
What are you doing? Tell me now. What are you doing? Tell me now.
There's so many Arnold movies to choose from.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to give you 4 options. What movie is getting its own Netflix live-action series? I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Gotta be great if he was, though. Is it A, Conan the Barbarian?
Crom.
That's funny. That's what I'm saying. It's like it depends on where your mind is going. Like it could be the sci-fi. It could be the horror stuff. It could be Conan the Barbarian.
Is it B, Commando?
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, that one I forget. That's the one where his daughter gets kidnapped, yeah?
Yeah, it's
And
what was her name?
What's her kisser? Yeah.
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
Was that Alyssa Milano?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, dude. Like right at the height of her Who's the Boss?
Who's the bossism?
fame.
Hey yo! Oh wait.
Is it C, Predator?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, kill me, yeah.
That's a movie. That's a franchise I need to watch again. 1 and 2, anyway.
Or is it D, Kindergarten Cop, motherfucker?
Kindergarten
Not the
Cop,
Duma.
the series.
Oh, come on. Who wouldn't watch that? Fuller House is on? Who's your daddy? What does he do?
Wow, that's so out of left field that I'm tempted to fucking choose it.
Uh-huh.
Kindergarten Cop. I feel like that's gotta be a herring. Fuck, that's tough. My first gut instinct, it wasn't even one of the movies I was thinking of initially, but as soon as you said it, I was like, that makes sense. I feel like I gotta go with Conan. I feel like between Game of Thrones and I don't know. It seems like every few years we have a new sword and sandal or wizardry.
Oh, Valley of Plenty, oh, Valley of Plenty, oh.
I'm just going to let that ride. Hang on. Let me think about this for just a second. Predator.
Get up.
Predator. Boy. Anything but Kindergarten Cop, which makes me want to go with Kindergarten. They can't possibly make a Kindergarten Cop series. Although, cop shows are always popular. There's always a cop show on.
Everyone loves that movie, too.
God damn it. Are you going to
quote it over and over again?
Get me to choose Kindergarten Cop. I'm going to stick with Conan. I think Conan.
Less comments from the peanut gallery, please.
Conan O'Brien. You know, it should be starring Conan O'Brien as Conan. That would be some meta shit. He's probably done that on his show before. All right, I'm going with Conan.
Okay.
I'm going with Conan too. I feel like I've heard some buzz in the ether, but I don't fucking know. Like, who knows what's even happening anymore, right? Like, but I'm going with Conan.
Okay. What's the great quote? The lamentation of the women.
Yeah. Threat them from the lands.
So good.
See your enemies driven before you and hear the lamentations of the women.
There you go.
Somebody do it.
Crom laughs at your 4 wins. That's one of my favorites.
The worst memory.
So fucking funny.
You crop.
So far, John, Mark, and I are ride or die.
I want it to be fucking Conan, dude.
A Predator series would be badass, though.
But that's kind of, I think, where I'm going. They came out with a Predator game recently, and it hit pretty hard, popular-wise.
Are you the Predator or the Prey?
Both. It's whatever you want to do. It's kind of a BR. You know, you go in and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But you be either a Predator or you could be the soldier.
That's fun.
I'm going to go with... It would be a short series, but I'm going to go with the Predator.
All right. Okay. Question 3. The Supreme Court in Ireland recently made a ruling that this commonly ordered fast food item can't be listed as real food because because of its ingredients. What fast food item in Ireland can no longer be listed as a food?
Lucky
Is it
Charms.
is it A, the bread in a Subway sandwich?
That's food.
Yeah.
Is it B, the pickles on a Whopper?
Oh yeah, get rid of those pickles. Fuck them.
What? What are they if not pickles?
Is it C, the cheese that comes on Taco Bell nachos?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it D, the beef located inside of a Jack in the Box taco?
Oh hey, that's serious. Serious.
Ooh, that's tough.
One
Well,
of these things
I'm drawn
was
toward
deemed
the
not-
last two. Because that fucking nacho cheese, the liquid cheese, that's got to be like plastic, some paint.
cheese flavored plastic.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
like,
bit disgusting.
whatever it is, it doesn't seem like anything natural.
Why can't they make that like healthy? You know what I mean? Like, why can't
Speaking-
it
Yeah.
something
Speaking of liquid cheese, so we're fostering this dog right now, and he's this wonderful
Where's this
little
going?
fucking sweet little blue kitty, and he, we got him a Kong. I got him a Kong to kind of help like occupy his brain for a little bit during the day, you know.
Instead of chewing the couch. Mhm.
And well, actually, he's very good about not chewing anything. He doesn't seem to have any, predilections to chewing anything that's not his.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I wanted to get him something to like, kind of like, because he's very dog reactive, so we can't like really walk him as much as we would want to.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out ways to like keep him occupied. So I got him a Kong, and there's this stuff that you can get because there's Kong snacks and Kong Easy Treat, which basically is bacon flavored. It's like bacon flavored easy cheese, and like I tasted it because I just wanted to figure out like what am I giving this
That
dog?
was my first
Fucking
question. You
didn't.
tasted it,
Yeah.
right?
I tasted. I
I
did
would
taste
have.
it, and it's fucking bacon easy cheese, dude.
But
Why-
that's,
why-
but just like bland, is it not? Like that can't be salty, right?
No, it tastes. No, it's bacon easy cheese. It just tastes like
It
easy
just
cheese
tastes
with
like
bacon
easy
flavor in it.
cheese.
Yep,
Mm.
it's crazy.
You're like,
So you're
And
not
I
the
looked
dog.
I looked at the ingredients, and I'm pretty sure it's almost the exact same ingredients that are in fucking easy cheese. So, anyways,
Wow.
that
Huh.
that's fantastic.
Well, that makes me.
Okay.
That leans me away from it, because if we're giving it to our pets, then maybe there is some real food in there. Oh, the Subway bread is. It's weird. And the last one was Jack in the Box. I'm gonna stick with the nacho cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tempted to go with Jack in the Box beef because those tacos are
God.
tasty, but that don't taste like no beef. Can we all agree on that?
John Mark.
So A was Subway bread.
Yeah.
It was Subway bread. Nope. Subway bread. Pickles on a Whopper. Cheese that comes on Taco Bell nachos, or the beef located inside a Jack in the Box taco.
I'm going with Subway.
We're at that point in the program. It's weird that
We're
this
at
is
that
making
point.
me hungry, that all of this is making me hungry.
We're at that point, fellas. I have to tell you, I fucking love me a foot-long Subway tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah, me too. You know what? That's gonna sound gross. I made a sandwich up. Y'all can hate me because everyone else seems to. I call it the tuniyaki.
Oh,
So
no.
what? Please elaborate.
Tuna and teriyaki?
Yeah.
Fuck gross.
Place.
That you know what? That's not
Like
that
pre
far out of
mayonnaise
the
tuna,
realm,
like
because
tuna salad and teriyaki.
That's no, that's not that far out of the realm because you
Yeah,
can
that's
get
close
a
to
fucking,
sushi.
You can get a salmon teriyaki bento box of tuna teriyaki. It's not that. It's not
The
that
tuniyaki.
crazy.
Tuniyaki. It's gonna be a thing.
It's
you know
not
what?
as bad as the ketchup and
Chris,
bologna one.
I'm going to visit you one of these days soon, and
Mhm.
we will have tuniyakis, and we'll watch some awesome fucking music videos,
Love it.
and it'll be a great time.
I'll live tweet it.
I'm gonna go with
You're
the
gonna
Subway.
live shard it. Good tuna.
Subway. I'm gonna go with the Subway bread because I remember a
Interesting.
story a while back about I think it was I don't know, it was in the States, and they're talking about Subway bread being made with the same type of shit that's in like yoga mats or something. So I'm gonna go with Subway bread.
That's so funny. I feel like the bread would be the cheapest, easiest thing to make, no matter what Or how?
Yeah, I thought
At least am I
Jared,
concerned.
Jared said that it was cooked fresh daily. So
Yeah,
unless-
that bitch is being
Oh,
raped
we all
in
know what
prison.
happened
Isn't that
with Jared.
crazy? He's in fucking prison.
Should we really test him?
You know what else is cooked fresh daily, Lyle? Is meth. Doesn't make it a food.
And Jared's butthole by other prisoners. That's baked fresh daily.
Like it rolled
Got
and
all that yeast in there. You know?
You're gonna regret those footlongs.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
When it comes to
This took a dark turn. Holy shit.
Dude's a child molester. Well, I don't know if he molested. He was a child pornographer though, right?
well, he had child, and I think of his own. But that's neither here nor there. Pickles, I don't think you could really make them, without being actually a pickle.
A pickle. That'd be a tough one.
pickle scientist.
Could be the
What are you
trick.
talking about?
Well,
All
The
you need
thing
is a
that got
pickle
me-
mold and something's
well,
up.
I went to Jack in the Box one day.
I love that we are all taking 20 minutes to answer this. This is good shit. All right, go ahead.
I got a bad cough. So anyway, I went in there, and they were deep frying the fucking patties. I couldn't believe it.
Really?
They're-
The
Yeah,
burger
they deep
patties.
fry their burger patties.
Hmm.
It was when the drive-thru was
What did-
closed. The only thing that was open was walking up, inside and getting your food and then going away. So I was like, I walked up.
So you
I'm-
watch them deep frying the patties?
Yeah. 100%.
Gross.
Never heard that one.
But yummy.
Super gross. But
So
I'm
you going with Jack in the Box? What are you doing?
I'm gonna go with the cheese.
That was a brilliant
Classic
animal.
Lyle
Al.
misdirection.
Yeah, fucking fast
Classic
food,
Lyle
man.
razzle dazzle.
Just any of those, I would believe.
Call
The
that
pickle.
stalling.
I feel like the pickle might be the green herring, but we'll see.
All right, lastly. A bored Australian woman that was spending her quarantine in a hotel accomplished something pretty wild when she shared a TikTok video of her doing this in her hotel room. What did she do in her small hotel room? Was it A? She ran an entire marathon.
Okay.
Is it?
That's basically how I've been exercising while editing.
She pole vaulted.
Okay. Hopefully, vaulted ceilings. So maybe
Was
that's
it
why they
C?
got their name.
She juggled 6 lit fire batons for over an hour.
No, that's scattershot.
That's pretty lit.
Or is it D? She painstakingly rebuilt a 1964 Harley Davidson motorcycle by hauling each piece in separately.
That's my kind of.
This is tough.
Ronster.
Spin the fucking wheel. I got no leanings one way or the other, so I'm gonna go with ran a marathon, just because it hits close to home.
All right.
I get my steps in while I'm waiting for files to render.
You just walk in circles.
Oh yeah, well not even circles, back and forth. It's really cool. You guys got to see it. I look awesome doing it with my
I'm
pajamas.
sure you should set a cam up. We should watch.
Yeah,
Don't leave it on.
we'll do
Just
that.
live stream.
I will do that.
Put it on Twitch.
Well, hey, I'm going for a 10-mile. I could do a 10-mile marathon. I stream it.
Okay,
I'm
John.
sorry, can you go through the first part of it again? Like the whole
Yeah.
like this is the situation.
A woman in Australia that was spending quarantine in a hotel did something kind of wild, and she shared a TikTok video of her doing it. What was it? Was it running a marathon, pole vaulting, juggling 6 lit fire batons, or painstakingly rebuilding a Harley Davidson motorcycle?
Fuck. Wow,
Mhm.
like just like Ron said, like man, those all seem like they could be legit. I don't see any colored herring in that mix. Good job, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Incomplete guess. Unless you saw the fucking story.
Like how many? Fuck. I mean, I have to imagine that Harley Davidson motorcycles are a thing in Australia because, like, I mean, they're a pretty international company. But
Oh yeah.
like, how common are they? Because it's like
It's an import.
Well, you can send away.
yeah.
You should
Yeah,
Send away piece by piece.
I'm gonna go with the fire juggling. I think.
Fair enough. Okay, guys, this is an interesting round. Now, because I
Did we get
foolishly
Lyle?
heavy loaded.
Do you want me to
Oh,
answer?
I'm so sorry, Lyle. My apologies.
No, go ahead. That's all right. I'll take
No, I need your answer.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I was curious how Lyle would answer, specifically because there was a chopper in the
Exactly.
mix.
But can I get a, like, fucking, what the fuck is so cool about fucking TikTok? It's absolutely shit.
Well, I mean, it's what's cool about any of it, I guess. It's just another way
It's
to.
a thing, whatever.
I think TikTok,
another
where
thing,
TikTok
like,
differs
whatever.
is, I think you're only going to get a use out of it as a creator
Dan.
if you want to make little tiny short movies. Like all my friends that I know that are having fun with it or having any kind of success with it, they're just making like super short. It's kind of like Vine, what Vine was.
It was like Vine, yeah.
Where
And
Instagram
actually, I
can
think
be anything, just a picture.
Vine
or
had
something.
its own content, though. Most of the people that are
Well,
on dancing somebody else's song.
Instagram implemented their own version of this shit too, but I don't know if anybody actually even uses it. But like the thing about TikTok is that like it's been widely reported to be like super invasive as far as like if you have it on your phone, like it like just will like grab all your fucking data, like everything on your fucking phone and just like grab it. Like I don't, you know what I mean? So it's like I don't know.
That's why I don't have Facebook on my PC. But
Well, how are you
anyways,
answering, Lyle?
I'm going to go with the Harley. Why not? That'd be
All
fun.
right.
I could see you piecing together a Harley in your living room.
Excuse me.
I'm dying to
Okay.
see where these go.
Yeah,
Especially
let me
that
tell you.
first answer. Ooh, that's going to be a stage
Well,
setter right there.
And here's what we're gonna do. Because it's so heavy loaded towards the front, we're gonna go in reverse and do the fourth question first and go over that way. So, question 4 was the Australian woman. What did she do in her hotel room in quarantine? And the answer was she ran an entire marathon. Monster, you're right to trust your gut.
Good there.
And she paid the price because she had to make sharp turns over and over again. She was pretty hurt the next day, apparently, but it took her just about 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that.
How far?
It was a half marathon or a full marathon? I don't have the story up anymore.
Yeah.
Apologies. I think it was a full marathon.
Many,
I think she
many,
did.
many
Marathon's
miles.
like 25 miles, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think it has to be that long, but well, maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's 25 miles.
It's a half mile.
Good
It's
Lord.
Yeah.
In your
I might be
hotel
wrong.
room. Wonder what she was
Yeah.
watching.
Well, how dizzy would you be? Fuck. You just basically run around in circles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And she posted it to TikTok. You can watch it. Wow, if you get on that TikTok wave, baby, this is what's waiting for you, baby.
Yeah, you guys are right. It is 26 miles is a marathon.
Just wait till someone posts it on YouTube. You can watch it there. Fuck TikTok.
That TikTok.
All right, Ronster in the lead early. Let's see how this goes. Question 3. The Supreme Court in Ireland recently made a ruling that this commonly ordered fast food item can't be listed as a real food because of its ingredients. We were talking about the bread in the Subway Sammy.
Really?
There's too much sugar in it for it to be proper bread for them, like the way it's made. So,
Interesting.
yeah, they say it can't be called bread. They can't actually do that there.
That's so weird.
How did Jared lose all that weight? Basically eating a foot-long Twinkie.
Guess that's why I want to eat
It's
a whole
because-
fucking loaf of bread when I go in there.
It's because of like how we have our standards set in this country as far as like processed food goes.
Yeah.
We're
Sugar
number one.
lobby all day long.
That's
Yeah.
why we found.
It is funny how European versions or Mexican versions or Russian, whatever, they're all so very different than what we have here. Way more natural, way more whole. Here in America, yeah, we're fine with bleached, dyed, hydrogenated. Give it to us
Pink
all.
slime. Yeah.
Yeah, pink slime. We're
Corn
team
syrup.
Pink slime. Corn
Yeah,
fucking syrup.
corn
Jesus
Give me
Christ.
those nuggies.
That shit's
Give me those
banned in
pink
some
slime
places.
nuggies.
All right, well, 1-1.
1-1. Anybody's game still. Question 2. Netflix recently announced that one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger flicks is going to be turned into a live-action series, and they're going to start shooting this sometime this year or next year. We were talking about Conan the Barbarian,
Nice.
Oh shit.
That's so cool.
which Ron and John Mark guessed.
Yeah.
My notes are correct.
Boy, this could be interesting.
Which
This
brings
could
us down
be
to our
interesting.
last question, which I dubbed worth 4 fucking points because it was both a Florida Daily Double.
Uncanny.
Ding, 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 ding.
We didn't do that the first time, did we? Shit.
Yeah, some of us did.
I did.
Oh.
And also
I've been
was
sleeping.
submitted by a listener. So I love the story too. I think it's great. So, Liquid Mountain Death Water was getting a shitload of bad reviews. I think, I mean, like when I saw it too, I was like, this is stupid. But I love the marketing for sure,
gotta
and
love
maybe
them,
it's a
yeah.
good product. Who knows? So, instead of just letting that slide, they took these bad reviews, and I'm just gonna let this speak for itself.
Oh, damn it.
That song is called "Dumbest Name Ever for Water."
That's amazing.
Let me just read you. This is called "Liquid Death's Greatest Hates."
See, how
So
can you
I'm
not
just gonna-
love this company, at least to some degree?
I'm gonna read you just the
I'm not
tracks.
fucking drinking water out of a can that's branded some fucking bullshit way. That's all I'm saying.
I might.
Well, maybe you give this album a spin because I did, and I was having a good time. Well, but some of the track names: "Huge Tools," "Every Single Person Involved," "Reconsider Your Life Choices," "Fire Your Marketing Guy," of course, what we just listened to, "Dumbest Name Ever for Water," "Get Slaughtered on Shark Tank," "This Water Couldn't Be Less Appealing," "Selling Your Soul is Deplorable," "Go Out of Business," "This Crap is Pure Evil," "Bad Marketing."
Nice. It's like MOD for the 2020.
Oh God,
Maybe-
MOD.
Maybe
Holy
a,
shit.
maybe a little more politically correct, but
Oh my God.
the whole thing with the going after the marketing, it's like these people that are shaming the marketer, that guy is a fucking, or whoever, guy or gal, or they, is a fucking genius. Hey, do you have any idea how many cans of canned metal water this company has sold because of everything that this marketer is doing, or their marketing team is doing? You're going out to the wrong. You can laugh at the concept and the price all you want, but the marketer is the one person who is the fucking hero here.
It's great.
Yeah, I think it's
I
fucking
totally
hilarious.
agree.
Well, the question is though, was it just an accident of fate, or was it like, and did they really think that, like, yeah, we can work with this, and if whatever, you know what I mean? Was it like fully planned out, or was it just like, oh shit, well, like, I guess we can go this way now, and they took a left turn at Albuquerque?
I feel like it was intended to begin with, but I don't know. The only reason, the first inkling I ever had that there was this Death Water. First of all, that's an amazing name, Death Water.
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, sorry. And the whole concept is hilarious, and their marketing jumped out at me. Again, I thought it was like some fake commercial that you would see in between episodes of Metalocalypse. You know, the whole thing felt like a joke. And then I found out that it was a real product, and people were reviewing it, and a lot of those reviews were fake, in the same way that the reviews for Three Wolf Moon. Is it Three Wolf Moon or Three Moon Wolf? The T-shirt, remember that one? That
Three Wolf Moon T-shirt, yeah.
Three Wolf Moon.
Fuck yeah.
Where people were just like, this shirt contains the majesty of not one, not two, but three wolves
And a moon.
and a moon. And it became like one of the most famous. It was just a T-shirt designed by somebody who painted that painting, and was like, one of these. It's just one of these people that paint those kinds of paintings and put it on a T-shirt. And someone got a hold of it and gave it this epic review, and then that got viral. I feel like this company sort of like Dollar Shave Club, where they went into it with an attitude like that, where we're going to capitalize on this kind of marketing, this kind of like, yeah, this is all a bit of a joke, but we will sell you cans of Death Water. I don't know. I think the whole thing's great. Because you can always just opt out of buying Death Water. Or I think Death Water might be better than Liquid Death, if I'm being honest.
The real question is, though, Chris, was it enough to give me the lead?
Oh, Lyle, you know it fucking was, brother. That
Damn.
put Lyle ahead at 4 points. He is the winner today.
That's amazing.
He earned it. Just
That's amazing. That's really exciting. I'm glad you did it backwards. Should have known something was up at that point. Well, congrats, Lyle. It's been a while.
All right.
Although you've had a couple. All I know is John Mark is no longer the impenetrable. You know, we used to throw bullets at him and they made that ping, 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 ping sound. Now some of those pings are we're getting some penetration up in there, and that's exciting.
So sad.
He's going to step up his game and maybe try playing without eating and playing a video game at the same time. Then we're all fucked. Well.
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry. I was like, yeah.
Well, that was fun. Kind of different for our Halloween show. We weren't super wasted. We weren't super spooky. But I had a good time. I needed me a night of just kind of kicking back and shooting the shit. This is the least I've tried in a podcast in a long time, and it felt good.
Great. Yeah,
So,
good.
For real, is
tune in next week. Who would
definitely
like
very
to
spooky.
be talking about 911. And then we might call them and ask them their opinions about 9/11. Never can tell. Have a happy and relatively safe Halloween, y'all. And I know it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm really sorry that you all have to go through such a shitty year. I'm really sorry that everything has been canceled. It's kind of sad. But, all right, let's get on out. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
You want me to
Oh,
answer?
I'm so sorry, Lyle. My apologies.
No, go ahead. No, it's all right. I'll take
No, I need your answer.
No, go ahead.